Hello, my name is Emily Christ. I am with Purdue Extension, Elkhart County. I work very closely with Shannon Shepard, who is the Kosciuszko Health and Human Sciences educator. And what she did was ask me today to talk to you guys about wearable technology. This is very fresh in my mind because I just did this program for our county fair. So I'd be happy to talk you guys through today's program. Give me one moment, please. I'm going to share my screen so that you guys are able to see. Let me slideshow from the beginning. Okay. So again, what we're going to talk about today is wearable technology and what that is and how it's beneficial for us. Again, my name is Emily Christ. If you ever have any additional questions about this topic, that is my contact information. So my email and our office phone number. We are open 8:30 to 4 o'clock, 8 o'clock to 4:30 every day. So if you ever have any additional questions, please reach out. I'd be happy to help you through those. I'd like to just touch on a little bit about who I am. I did go to the rivalry school. IU. I love my sweet little pup right there, and I do travel a lot with my husband to go fishing and just to see new places. So I just like to talk a little bit more about who I am before I get into the nitty-gritty of the lesson. The funding that comes into our programs comes from a couple of different places. It comes from the USDA along with the National Institute of Food and Agriculture. We also get funding for our programs and our curriculum from Purdue University in Elkhart County itself. It really just depends on what county the program is being held in. We do have a rather large county in Elkhart County, so we do get a lot of support from our county officials. Probably, as you guys know, Purdue Extension consists of 4 program areas. That includes A&R, HHS, CWC, which is our nutritional education program, and then the most common one that most people know about is 4-H. I do like to touch on this just before we start because a lot of individuals think what sets us apart from just going on the internet and searching about this topic. And you are completely valid and right in that question. What does set us apart is that we are research-based. So we deliver practical and research-based information to enhance the lives and livelihoods of those in our community, in Indiana, and just in the world. So what sets us apart is a lot of our curriculum and our research has gone through different case studies and trials to make sure that the information that we are sending to you and giving to you is correct. Today's objectives. So what I want to talk to you about today is wearable technology. What is a wearable device? I think a lot of us can probably guess a few off the top of our head, but we don't know all of them, right? So we want to apply this information to what we're going to learn today. So wearable technology is going to look different for everybody, and it's going to look different in different situations. A medical setting could be, you could find where medical or wearable technology could be. Fitness trackers, smartwatches, those types of things are found in more fitness, well-being settings. And then you have safety, accessibility, and easier communication. Those types of things we're going to touch on those a little bit today as well. And I'd like to touch on being able to adapt to new trends because we are consistently evolving and finding new ways to enhance our technology. So I'd like to talk about that a little bit here at the end. So what are wearable devices? So the definition of a wearable device is meaning anything that can be worn on someone's body without encumbering or distracting from their daily activities or restricting the mobility in any way. Wearable devices, so they are most commonly found, in the healthcare, fitness, or any well-being practice. And most often, wearable technology is based off of the conventional electronics that include mobile phones that are technically powered by a conventional battery. What that means is a wearable device has to be connected to some sort of battery power, whether that is a mobile device or something that is coming from a different center. It is connected to something. Some wearable technology can be more profound, and that includes the use of specific apparel and textiles. The advantages to wearable technology is that it leads to a healthier lifestyle choice. So a great benefit to the utilization of wearable technology is being able to maintain connectiveness and collects large amounts of data at a time. So just as an example, I am currently in the thick of our county fair, and I stopped for a moment to be able to record this, but just in the past week, I've had over 100,000 steps. And with that, I would not be able to track that amount without my smartwatch. And not to say that that is 1000% accurate here or there, but that's ballpark, right? So being able to see those steps and say, wow, like that's probably why my feet are a little tired, is because I've had that many steps. Being able to step apart from that and see that is great. Maintaining connectedness, depending on what device you have, it really just depends on how advanced it is. Some of these smartwatches, you are able to answer phone calls, get GPS on those, and answer text messages. And then you're able to collect large amounts of data. So on some of these devices, you're able to track your sleep and your oxygen level, your blood pressure, those types of things. Some of the disadvantages to, wearable technology is the price interference. They're expensive. They're very, very expensive. The privacy with a lot of these wearable technology isn't always granted. It's not always there. So being able to put those privacy settings there and in place so that you don't put yourself at risk for any type of exposure to that. And I just want to put a side note in there as well, that we, during this program, Purdue Extension, are not endorsing any specific brand, company, or any website. We don't endorse any of those. We just want to make that clear. We're not discriminating against anyone that is not mentioned as well. These are just very common brands that are mentioned on a daily. So why is the wrist picked when we are looking at wearable technology? So it's easy to view while you're working instead of pulling something out of your pocket. A lot of us keep our phones in our pocket or just somewhere near us. Instead of looking for them, it's a lot easier just to pull your wrist up and say, oh, so-and-so is calling me, or I have this going on soon, or oh, I need to calm down. My heart rate is accelerating. So that's one thing. The arm moves more than several other body parts. So this is easier to track your motion. So instead of you may think your feet moves more, but actually your arm moves more. So if you think about it, if you sit at a desk job or anything like that, your arm is constantly moving. The wrist also contains veins. It contains veins and arteries in order to measure your pulse and that oxygen level. The skin around your wrist is so thin that it's able to do that. And it is portable enough for physical activity. So you're able to put it on your wrist and not have to think about it when you're doing things like exercising, walking, or going somewhere. So fitness trackers, we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of each of these wearable devices. Fitness trackers have the ability to track the number of steps you take, your average heart rate, and how long you sleep. In most cases, this data can be synced with other devices, such as a smartphone, but it doesn't always have to be. The many devices that come with being a fitness tracker are things like Fitbit, iTouch. They don't always have to be connected to a phone. You just get more accessibility when it's connected to a phone. So syncing those up will allow you to see your trends and your patterns within your activity. Fitness trackers, so they're available obviously in a range of prices, and they come in a variety of forms in order to fit your needs. So depending on the textiles you want, if you want something more rugged, if you're doing a lot more outdoor activities, The more basic models come as wristbands or anklets in order to track your steps. But more pricier models, they tend to look more like jewelry, similar to this one. While this is a smartwatch, fitness trackers can look very similar in the jewelry department. But the most common brands are, again, Fitbit, iTouch, and Garmin. Smartwatches, they're great for catching those notifications and reading them at a quick glance. If you are someone who is constantly busy, whether it's a work or a desk job, or if you're out running around doing errands, you're a busy mom, it's really easy to have that smartwatch and be able to look at things at a quick glance, answer that phone call, reply to a text really quick with your voice, because it does have that voice show recognition, or see what the weather's like outside, those types of things. Very, very nice in that aspect. The two most common watch brands, I put Swatch in there because they're smart watches. The two most common watch brands are going to be Apple and Samsung. Most smartwatches, they actually do rely on that smartphone in order to function because they have to have that connection, meaning the model you choose will depend on the type of phone you have. So for example, I have an Apple Watch and I have an iPhone. So they're both the same brand, which means they're able to connect to each other. Versus if you were to have a Samsung watch, you would probably need to have a Samsung device for a phone. There is a lot of increased productivity that comes with wearable devices. We may think it's a large expense, which it is, but there's a lot of monitoring with health parameters that comes with it. So kind of like I told you earlier, you get to monitor your blood oxygen levels, your blood pressure. You can monitor how many steps you've gotten in a day, how many miles you've walked, just your physical activity overall. But it also will tell you different things like when to take a deep breath or when it's time to stand if you've been sitting for a long time. So I think those are great because it's giving you almost that instant validation and getting you up and moving instead of kind of looking at that at a later time. It helps with those short-term goals. It does have GPS notification on the nicer ones. So if you're able to spring for the more expensive ones, they do have those. Those are just hooked up to your carrier, so your cell phone carrier, in order to get those. I don't at all find that necessary, but it really just depends again on what your needs are. It's really nice to have smartwatches because you can get weather predictions and calendar updates. Those are nice for myself just because I'm a busy individual and I really like to get those so I can see what my day looks like. And then of course it's a watch. It wouldn't be a watch without monitoring time. So that's a good thing there. Another factor is that it can locate your phone. So a lot of the newer models of the smartwatches have a feature on them where you push a button and it will locate your phone. If you are somewhat like me, who loses their phone all the time in any part of their house, at work, which is really awful, you can push a button on your watch and it'll beep on your phone and locate your phone for you. It's fantastic. That is a great option as well. And I think the most newest and increased productivity for the watches is being able to pay for items. So I'm not sure how many individuals watching this are familiar with Apple Pay, but Apple Pay has been very commonly used with, or Samsung Pay, are very commonly used now with mobile devices. But on top of that, that can be connected to your smartwatch, and you can put your watch or your wrist up to the credit card machine. And once that's connected, it can read that and pay for whatever you are paying for that way. Again, it might be a security risk with some things. It really depends on how far you're willing to go with that. But some things, some people think that this is a great feature. A little bit more about accessibility. So phone calls, emails, text messages, and reminders, calendar notifications, and then healthcare reminders. So again, being able to get that instant validation of taking a moment to breathe or stand up if you've been sitting for a while, and monitoring your heart rate. if you are someone who exercises regularly, it's important to monitor your heart rate. So what the watch will do will tell you if your heart rate is too high or too low, and if it is quite concerning. So that is something to take into consideration as well. Safety. I think this is probably one of the most important ones, and one that I do like to talk about is safety wearables are devices specifically designed to help in situations where you may feel like you are in danger. So many companies, one in particular is Apple. They have created a small device called an AirTag. This can be looped to a lot of things. It can be looped to your keys, your purse, your wallet, a belt loop. I know a few of my friends will actually hook them to their kids when they're going to things like a county fair or a carnival or an amusement park. So if the child happens to run the opposite direction, they get disconnected or lost from each other, they're able to easily find that because those AirTags can be tracked on your phone. And AirTags cannot be shut off unless destroyed. So if an individual were to steal something of yours, such as a purse or a wallet or luggage that had the AirTag in it, and they didn't know that the AirTag was already in it, they wouldn't realize that you knew where it was at, if that makes any sense. So I think they're a great investment. They usually range anywhere between $30 and $50. AirTags are great. I do have one for when I'm traveling, especially out of the country, because sometimes luggage can get lost amidst flights. So it's a really good system to have, and depends on how much you think you would utilize it. The future of wearable technology is really, it's ever changing, right? They are predicting that there are going to be newer versions of smartwatches and fitness trackers coming out every year, just like how we see with the mobile devices. They are also they're also predicting that we are going to see a lot more smart jewelry. Now, there are things that are called smart rings, and those are going to measure your blood oxygen level in your sleep so that they aren't as uncomfortable like wearing a watch to bed. So those are very common now, but they're predicting that those are going to look more like an actual ring versus a medical device. And speaking of medical devices, almost any medical device that can be worn mobily is going to be considered a wearable device. So that is a Dexcom, that is a pacemaker, anything in that kind of category. Now, depending on what that looks like for you and if it is accurate in your readings, that is something that is needed to be discussed with your physician. But those are considered to be wearable devices. Smart hearing aids are another one that they're thinking are going to advance. And smart pet trackers are all of the rage right now. A lot of individuals are talking about how these are going to help with individuals losing their dogs as often as they do. Pricing for wearable technology. So again, that's going to look different. For fitness trackers, it looks anywhere between $30 and $300. It just depends on the brand, GPS, the type of material it's made out of. If it's made out of gold, silver, or if it's just a rubber band, it really is going to depend. And then just any extra features it may have. If the device, when you purchase it, comes as a package with other things like chargers, stands, and then smartwatch is the same thing, but the price usually ranges between $100 and $800. The conclusion to wearable technology is that it is considerably being a booming industry. It has a significant potential for future innovation, but the medical and technology industry is growing rapidly as more people recognize the importance of wearable technology within the medical industry and in society today. So the takeaway from this is that wearable technology does not just sit in the use of a smartwatch or a fitness tracker. It can be anywhere in the medical industry that someone is able to wear. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's program and listening more about wearable technology. And I'd love to answer any of the questions you may have. And if there is a specific question about maybe a medical device, your physician, I guarantee, would be happy to answer those questions. I am going to stop sharing really quickly. If I can get out of here. And then I'm going to bring up the survey, which I don't know if Shannon is planning on sharing this with you guys, but I'm going to share this with you anyways. You could either, I'm also going to get the link for you too, because I don't want to keep you too long. So I'm going to put a QR code in front of you guys, but I'm also going to give you guys the survey link. And I believe that Shannon will have this as well, but I want to put both options. I want to give you guys both options so that you don't feel like you need to do one or the other. So this is, let me share. Let me share this really quick again. Share screen. So this is going to be the QR code. So what you're going to do is, if you are using a mobile device, this may not work, but if you're on a computer, you're going to pull up your mobile device just like this. You're going to open up your camera, and then once you are on your camera, you're going to hold down, when you hit the QR code, you're going to hold down that link that pops up, and it'll take you to that survey. Now, if this is not an option for you, or you don't want to use that, I am going to stop sharing here in a few minutes, and I'm going to put the link to the survey in the program as well, or in the chat, so that you can utilize that too. So I'll give you guys just a few more minutes or a few more seconds to click on that if you'd like. So again, pull up your camera on your phone and don't click the capture button. So that little round button at the bottom, don't click that, but pull up your camera. And once you have that kind of hovering over there, a little yellow link will pop up, and you'll click that link and it'll take you to that survey. So I'm going to exit out of here, and I'm going to stop sharing. Stop share. Okay. And then I am going to, hopefully you guys are able to see this chat during this. If not, I'm also going to put this. Okay, so that is the survey link. I'm hoping you guys are able to see that. And then if not, I'm also going to share that with Shannon. And so she can give that to you guys as well when she shares the recording with you guys. So either way, you guys will have access to this link. I am pre-recording this, so I don't know ahead of time. But I just realized I'm looking at my other monitor and not at the camera. So thank you guys so much for listening to this. And if you have additional questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to either Shannon or I, and we will get those answered for you. And I appreciate your time today. Thank you. Bye-bye.